Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? December 14, 2024, early evening here in San Diego. Actually, Carlsbad. I'm on State Street if you want to know what street I'm at in Carlsbad. So I want to talk about some major changes about ready to take place in the banking system. And what I'm referring to is Donald Trump taking office here in a few weeks and how he's going to completely change the way banking's done here in the United States and world. I mean, he's already made a lot of promises. One of the promises that he's made is to end the IRS. And a lot of people just think that's something that would never happen. Well, believe me, I think it's not only going to happen, I think it's absolutely 100% he's going to end the IRS. And I can explain to you how he's going to do that. The other thing he's probably going to do is he's going to move to cryptocurrencies. We're no longer going to have this U.S. dollar-based system. It's going to be based on cryptocurrencies, and it may go straight to Bitcoin. We may not even have some USD crypto. It may just straight be currency that's Bitcoin. And if you don't think that's possible, think of El Salvador. El Salvador switched over to cryptocurrencies, and they've been buying crypto here for quite a while. In fact, I think they were buying crypto back in the 20s and 30s when it was $20,000, $30,000. Now it's over $100,000. How smart does that guy look right now? The head of El Salvador. He's a very popular president, and he is basically taking El Salvador from a debtor nation, completely encumbered with debt by the U.S. by the monetary world, the IMF, and now he's made him a debt-free country that is, with money to spare because of the Bitcoin price going from the 30s, mid-30s. In fact, I think they were buying even in the 20s to over $100,000. So, El Salvador has done very well based on using cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as their main currency. Donald Trump may do the same thing. In fact, I read where Texas is now starting to set up where they could have a reserve fund of Bitcoin. You're going to see more and more people. Look at Michael Saylor. Man, the guy is just, I read all over the place now. He's got one of the MicroStrategies has been one of the fastest movers of all stocks here in the last year. This guy's got to just be on fire. All the money he's made in cryptocurrencies with just basically buying Bitcoin, doing nothing else. And Donald Trump's going to more likely be doing something like this very, very soon. And the reason I say he's going to get rid of the IRS almost definitely is because we won't need the IRS anymore. I mean, if you go to a blockchain system, public ledger blockchain system, there's no more need for IRS. There's no more need for self-reporting and doing your own taxes or paying an accountant. And it's got to be a system of loopholes and a system where people with money can avoid taxes, not pay any taxes, like Donald Trump, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. They can avoid paying taxes, not pay taxes at all, because of knowing the rules and being able to hire the kind of attorneys and accountants that can make sure they don't pay any tax. Whereas the everyday ordinary wage earner, person getting a W-2, the taxes are taken out before they ever see their check. So yeah, I think Trump will end the IRS, and I think he will go to some sort of cryptocurrency-based system. The thing about Trump is the main thing with Trump, everybody knows, is Trump. There's two things he desires more than anything. He desires loyalty. He wants people to be loyal to him, and he wants control. So he wants control and loyalty. And the best way to get control and loyalty is to take over the financial systems. And that's what I think he's going to do. He's going to take over the financial systems. It's going to go to Bitcoin-based. It's going to be, a lot of this banking is going to go away. The Security and Exchange Commissioner, Gary Gensler, is going to be replaced. He's probably going to deregulate a lot of these banks and probably put regulation in place that makes it very competitive to where they're just going to push each other out till there's nothing left, or either make it so they cannot compete against the cryptocurrencies. And I think that's happening right now. They're not going to be able to compete with cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrency is a public ledger. If you don't understand it, you need to start understanding it today, because it's the way of things are going. If you cannot believe that, you think cryptocurrencies are going to somehow, like Warren Buffett, they're going to go to zero. You need to get up with the times. I knew that Bitcoin was going to take off, and I knew it was going to take off wildly when BlackRock decided to launch their ETFs, and it went, really. At that point, I knew the game was up. You're not going to have BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world start buying Bitcoin and have Bitcoin go to zero. I mean, I don't know what happened to Warren Buffett, if he's in a state of dementia or what's going on with him. But that's absolute insanity to think BlackRock is going to heavily invest clients, customers' money into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's going to go to zero. Never going to happen in a million years. And when that took place, I knew it was going up. And then at the same time, you had the halving going on too. The only thing I missed on this Bitcoin, as far as my projections are concerned, I thought it was going to be $100,000 this summer. I didn't think it was going to take till December to get to be $100,000. So my projections were off. I thought maybe it would be $100,000 in midsummer instead of being the end of the year. But no, I never, in my wildest dreams, didn't believe it was going to $100,000. And I think it's going to go much higher. In fact, I remember back in 2020 when we were in a pandemic, and I was watching a guy by the name of Da Vinci, and he was going to sell his home and buy Bitcoin. And, at the time I was a pretty strong Bitcoiner, but I thought to myself, man, dude, that's a pretty strong idea. I mean, to go ahead and sell the house. And it's funny because he talked about his home in a way that he says, I really like my home. I don't want to lose my home, but I'm going to sell my home and buy Bitcoin. What was the smartest thing he ever did? Because the last time I saw a guy making videos, he's making the videos from Dubai. So I don't think he's worried about his home here in the United States of America. He's in Dubai trying to escape taxes because he's made so much money. So there may be a day where everybody's bailing on real estate to buy Bitcoin. I think that's very possible. I mean, Michael Saylor talks about that. I mean, he talks about people taking home equity loans to buy Bitcoin. And that can be very possible. I've always had this kind of, ever since I totally understood Bitcoin, and I took a deep dive. I took a deep dive because my son was heavily involved in it, and I wanted to support him. And so I took a deep dive into Bitcoin. And of course, I have a background I had a Series 7, a Series 63. I was a stockbroker for a number of years. I'd done a lot of financial stuff before. I was an investment banker. So I had some, and I knew a lot of the scams out there. I mean, I'd heard of them. I've been a penny broker. Man, when I was a penny broker, I heard every scam in the book. The mining stocks and all that other stuff. That was the big thing back in the 80s is, we were always pushing some mining stock, because metals were hot back in those days. So there was always some mining stock that was going to, go 10 times, 20 times higher. Sometimes a few of them did, but they never lasted. It was always a quick flash in the pan. But I knew all those guys. I knew those guys that were scammers. So when I heard Bitcoin, I thought, wow, scam. That thing just really, really got to me. I said, man, it's got to be a scam. I was trying to protect my son. Didn't want him to get involved with this stuff. Because I'd had a background in this stuff, and I could tell when things were going up like they were going up that generally doesn't last. Well, you know what? I was the one that got proven wrong because it did last, and it kept going. And now it's well over $100,000. When I first heard about Bitcoin, it was around $700. So I've seen it go from $600 or $700 to over $100,000 in a pretty short period of time. So this is not anything to joke around. This is nothing funny. And if people are sitting there still wondering about Bitcoin or wondering if it's going to die or not, they better wake up and smell the coffee, because this is getting pretty intense. And Donald Trump is very likely to take this to the next level. Like I say, backing our banking system with Bitcoin, getting rid of a lot of the bankers and the banks, getting rid of the Security and Exchange Commissioner, getting total loyalty from the people that are in Bitcoin, and then getting control of the banking system by replacing it with a lot of people that he likes, people that he wants to control. And believe me, Donald Trump wants to control the banking system. He calls himself the king of debt, because that's how he's leveraged all of his real estate purchases, by acquiring huge amounts of money. And I can see the guy has no problem going in debt. I mean, when he had these civil lawsuits going on and he was getting ready to write checks to E.G. Carroll or whatever, he wanted to appeal those lawsuits, and he was willing to borrow $100 million to appeal some of these civil lawsuit judgments against him. That's a guy that isn't afraid to go into debt. I mean, for me, I'd be trying to reach a settlement. I wouldn't be going and borrowing $100 million against my property because you decided, I want to, get in a fight with this woman that the courts are totally believing. I think I'd have been a little bit more cautious than that. But he's not afraid of it. He went right into borrowed the money to extend these appeals. And, whenever you appeal lawsuits, you're looking at major costs. Everything just escalates as far as costs are concerned. He wasn't afraid to do it. So the guy's not afraid of debt. So, he wants to control the banking system. He's going to put his people in place. He demands total control, and he demands total loyalty, and he'll get it. The other thing that's going on with Trump right now is that the people that, Bitcoin has rallied incredibly since he was elected president, or when he's elected president in November. These people like Michael Saylor and the Winklevoss twins and all these guys that are big Bitcoiners, they got a huge war chest of money right now. And if they want to continue to support Trump and continue to support his policies, they're going to do it with big bang bucks. So this is something people need to be cautious of and watch for, because you're going to see a complete change in the way banking is run. Now, I always had kind of this little bit of fear of Bitcoin. And the reason I do have a little bit of fear of Bitcoin is because I am someone that believes in Scripture and believes in the Bible and believes what the Bible says, 100%. I mean, the Bible talks about a little group of people called the Israelites clear back 2,000 years ago. Now, what is becoming the focus of our end times is Israel again. We would have never thought in a million years that this little group of people, the Jews, could survive this many years, go back to their homeland, and now be the focus of a worldwide, interest 2,000 years later. I mean, that was prophesied in the Bible, and and that's only one of many prophecies. If you don't believe the Bible, the reason we don't believe the Bible, the reason we have such lack of respect for the Bible in this country, is we don't know history. We're not taught history anymore. Our kids are being deprived of this information in these liberal schools that they go to. They're deprived of all the miracles and all the things that have taken place in all the history. I mean, if you threw this evidence in front of anybody that was any kind of thinking person, they would understand 100%. The accuracy of the Bible is 100%. Everything the Bible has ever prophesied has come true, and the only reason we don't know it or we don't understand it is because we've not been made aware of it. Our schools have deprived us of that information. They've completely deprived us of the information that people need so that they would have faith and trust in the Bible and know that the Bible is true. And one of the things that's always really, because I am a Bible believer, Christian, I go out, I pass out Bible tracts. At some point in our history of our life or our country, we went from people that were people that are people that served other people that give back to other people that thought of other people and took care of other people, to becoming self-centered people. So the problem with our country right now is we have too many self-centered, self-interest type of people, and not people that are thinking of others over themselves. They're thinking of themselves first. If you really want to exercise true faith in God, give to others and see how quickly it comes back to you. I mean, that if you want to just test it out and see what happens, that will show you right away that whatever the scriptures are true by the fact that you give and you'll get back even greater than you gave. And that's the way the Bible works. And the thing about it is right now we're living in such a self-centered society. Everybody just wants to think about themselves and acquiring as much wealth as they can possibly acquire. It's like I said the other night, if it's too late to buy Bitcoin, no, it's not. And it's not too late to buy Bitcoin and use your profits from Bitcoin to help others, to share with other people. I mean, to me, that would be the ideal world you live in. Buy something like Bitcoin that's going to go up in value, and then use that extra money that you've made to share and help other people that are in need, more so than you are. So, like I say, I wanted to end this in this one thing that I was wanting to say about Bitcoin. I've always had this feeling that Bitcoin may play a part in end times, because the Bible says in Revelation that you neither buy or sell in the end times without the mark of the beast. And I always thought that kind of fit in pretty well with Bitcoin. Not to say Bitcoin is evil, and not to say Bitcoin is of the devil. Well, this is kind of cool. Someone really went overboard with the lights on this truck. Wow, every bit of that truck is covered in lights. So, not to say Bitcoin's of the devil or Bitcoin's, it's like anything else. I mean, you can use a firearm to protect yourself, or you can use firearm to go out and commit crimes. It's not the firearm that's the problem, it's the person. So I'm not saying Bitcoin's the problem. I'm saying Bitcoin has these properties that has these the way it functions and works with a public blockchain, that this could play into end times prophecy, and that neither buy nor sell without the mark of the beast, and the use of a public ledger and being able to control the buying and selling of people, and have it be something that is publicly known if you know the address or know the name associated with the address using that account. So anyway, that always kind of bothered me, and I always kind of see how that would work out. That Bitcoin could be used in times as a way to keep people from buying or selling unless they had some sort of mark or some sort of blessing from the Antichrist. The Antichrist would be able to control whether they buy or sell because of the public ledger of the Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency they're using. So that thing, I always thought about that. Not that I'm not saying Bitcoin is evil, not saying Bitcoin's of the devil. I'm just saying that Bitcoin has those properties. And I just thought whatever comes about here at the end of days, which is probably the way things are going, not that far away, that would have something similar to Bitcoin, either Bitcoin or something that is very similar to Bitcoin, something like Bitcoin and maybe be a predecessor to some sort of end times way of buying and selling, where every transaction could be recorded on a public ledger. And that's the way Bitcoin is. It's public ledger. If you need to understand one thing about Bitcoin, you understand the way the blocks are formed, the way the blocks are recorded, and the way that they got to be in sequence. You cannot be out of sequence. You can't go miss a block, skip a block, do something else, and then have a previous block come back into the chain. It's not that way. It's got to be done sequentially in order, and that's why it's the way it is. And those make it very interesting as far as how it can record everything people do and be a part of, a ledger, a transaction that's public but yet private. If you don't understand how that works, watch a few more videos. I'm not going to explain it to you in this video, but it's private, but it's still public. And I know a lot of people don't understand it, because I was watching this video this afternoon where Michael Saylor, every time he has to explain Bitcoin, he does this deep sigh. He goes, and then he has to describe Bitcoin. And they had this montage of all the times that he's taken the deep sigh as he's explaining Bitcoin. And it's so funny because they did it about 50 times, 30, 40, 50 times, where he does this deep sigh and then he explains Bitcoin. Does a deep sigh and then he explains Bitcoin. Does a deep sigh and then he explains Bitcoin. So it's like at this point in the game, and people I can't stand Sean Hannity. I just can't stand the guy. But he asked Michael, said, well, please explain this Bitcoin to me. I don't understand it. If you're a guy like Sean Hannity and you're in Fox News and you're talking to people every day and you don't understand Bitcoin, you aren't much of you're not much of a what would you call those guys? The talking head people. You're not much of a talking head. You're not much of a reporter if you don't understand Bitcoin in these days and times. The idea that Bitcoin is well over $1 trillion worth of well over $1 trillion worth of what's the word I'm trying to think of. The market cap. That's what I was thinking of. Market cap. So it's well over $1 trillion market cap. So it's going to grow like crazy. The largest asset manager in the world is buying Bitcoin. I think it's probably one of their best performing ETFs. And you're sitting there and you're asking somebody like Michael Saylor to explain Bitcoin to you. Come on, dude, get up with the game. You're way behind. And not only Sean Hannity, but a lot of these other talking head people, they're all saying, well, we don't really get this Bitcoin. Why don't you explain it to us? Spend a little bit of time studying Bitcoin, instead of some of the other things people do. Get your face out of whatever it is you've got your face in, some social media platform, and start studying Bitcoin, because it's important. And if you want to take care of your family towards these end times, and take care of your family here in the next 4 years, as we don't know what's going to happen with this economy, know where people's minds are at, know where the establishment's going, know what Donald Trump thinks of it. And Donald Trump, I haven't seen a more bullish Bitcoiner in a while than Donald Trump. And I think what he sees, Donald Trump he's a populist. He says he does what people want him. What people are really hurting about, or what people are really bothered about, Donald Trump has an answer. He has a fix. And I think Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is going to be a big fix for Donald Trump. And by that, and everybody that gains money by doing it, he's going to get some his following, and he's going to get some support from. So if you're making like Michael Saylor and you made a ton of money from Donald Trump being so pro-Bitcoin, guess what? Donald Trump's going to expect a little bit of support from guys like Michael Saylor. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.